What's going on, guys? Your boy Mazy. We're back with another video, and in today's video, guys, me going over the character concept I actually made here for a Chaos Arthur, guys. So I actually did make a whole skill sheet. I have my Google document that I actually went over as well, as like a rough draft, and I had both Sora and Beats actually help me out making this kit for this character. So, you know, shout out to them. And yeah, man, we're gonna be going over the kit in this video, guys, covering pretty much the entire kit of the character, my inspiration for some of the things, and kind of like what we were like thinking when actually brainstorming up the character. So we do have a whole character sheet and everything, so you know, tune in. But if you guys enjoy videos like this, man, definitely make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll definitely be making more of these in the future. I think this is a pretty cool idea as well, considering, you know, not too many character contests in Grand Cross really, man. So I thought this would be a cool video to just kind of, you know, drop whenever. But yeah, this would be like what the icon would look like pretty much, and I didn't want to spoil the actual kit of the character, so I had this at the beginning of the video. So now let's actually hop in and let's go over the kit of the character, guys. So this is it right here. This is the character sheet I made, and yeah, this is the Rebirth of Chaos King Arthur. So pretty much this Arthur would be the last arc of 7 Deadly Sins, the Chaos Arthur at the end where he fights Kath, and with the 7 Deadly Sins they beat him, and then boom, that's pretty much the Chaos Arthur we're going for. This is the idea, right? Rebirth of Chaos King Arthur, and he's gonna be darkness attribute, right? I mean, it makes a lot of sense, you know, chaos obviously being like kind of a, you know, an attribute that we wouldn't really like, you know, I mean, it's literally like the force, I guess, in the 7 Deadly Sins universe, you know what I mean? So yeah, I mean, I think it would more so lean towards darkness though, because it's like a more of an evil power, I guess. So yeah, darkness attribute. And then for the passive right here though, guys, let's actually read it together. So we have, at the start of the battle, apply King of Chaos to self and applies Fragment of Chaos on human allies. Increases human allies' basic stats by 10% and damage dealt with single target attack skills by 5% for each human ally on the battlefield. Additionally, every time human allies use single target attack skills, the hero's attack related stats increases by 10%, stacking up to 5 times. And then this hero deals damage with attribute advantage to light and darkness attributes. Now for Fragment of Chaos and King of Chaos, Fragment of Chaos is damage taken minus 20%, removes debuffs from the hero at the start of the ally's turn if the hero receives damage equal to or more than 20% of max HP on the enemy's turn, limit to 3 times. Pretty much the idea with this part of the kit, guys, was that we were going for a counter to the Demon King. Now in Grand Cross, right, let me pull up Demon King so I can kind of show you guys what I mean. But Demon King, the way he works with his debuff, right, is that it is a debuff that it's not even infect, it's its own debuff. It's Mark of Death, and it restricts recovery related stats and also lowers your crit resistance and crit defense. So my idea mainly, oh, let me zoom out here. My idea mainly about like to kind of counter the Demon King was like, okay, how do we like go in a way where we can, you know, have the human allies actually cleanse so they're not infected, so they can start life stealing the following turn, but not give them like healing, you know what I mean? I didn't want to just like cleanse the debuff and heal. I thought that would be a little too broken. So what we went for instead was a way to actually, you know, cleanse the character. So pretty much it works, removes debuffs from the hero at the start of the ally's turn if the hero receives damage equal to or more than 20%. So let's say the Demon King does like an AoE, right? He does his AoE, Meliodas follows up, does his AoE, and it does more than 20%. That means the human team is actually going to cleanse, and they can do that 3 times. That's kind of what we were going for, like a cleanse on the infect, so that the human team, literally on their attacking turn, they could be not debuff immune, but like, you know, the debuff would be gone, and then they could start life stealing again. I didn't want them to instantly be, you know, held back because of infect, and we need to kind of counter infect in the meta, man. That's like one of the big problems in Grand Cross right now, is just because how prevalent like infect is as an effect, right? So there's that. And then for King of Chaos here, if the hero uses a single target attack skill that does not exceed 50% of the enemy's max HP, inflicts additional damage equal to 500% of the hero's attack at the start of the battle. Now with this, we were trying to counter Demon King and the damage cap, right? The way I had it initially, and I'll show you guys on the Google document as well. There's the Arthur we were getting for the video. But yeah, so for the Google document, what I actually did here was I had the hero's damage dealt during ally's turn can bypass damage cap, which I thought was a little too broken. That was the problem, right? This is definitely way too broken of an effect, because imagine in PvE, like you're just facing a demonic beast and then you instantly break the damage cap. Like, it's a little too much, right? So we had to, you know, have some type of balance here. And so the balance that we decided on, and Sora helped me think of the idea too, was mainly just by having a not an Arthur effect, but a Roxy effect, right? So inflicts additional damage equal to 500%. So instead of 300%, we went with 500%. 500%, and it only works against characters that do not exceed 50. So literally against Demon King, right? This would not work against a demonic beast, right? Unless the demonic beast was like a 50% damage cap, but it has to exceed 50%, or does not exceed 50%, my bad. So it would be less than that it would do the damage. So it would work on demonic beast, my bad. So yeah, I mean, even better, right? Even better. You have demonic beast viability. There you go. So yeah, that's pretty much what the passive was, and it would work in all content, guys. We made sure to put the all icon right there, and then it does apply when entering battle. So you know, for most of the passive here, though, you guys can see, so applies King of Chaos to self. So remember, this is only for Arthur himself, but the fragment of chaos is for all allies, though. So bear in mind. Right, and then yeah, obviously they get the basic stats. So I got this from like this sentence right here was from Freyr Relic, where he gives the damage dealt with single target attack skills, and then the basic stats for Unknown and Ragnarok, and then the single target damage right here. So the attack related that we give him for humans using single targets was kind of like a Trader Melee inspiration, right, where he gets all stats. We gave you know, Arthur attack related, right, so you can go up to 50%, right. So that's pretty good. And then the hero dealing damage with attribute advantage to light and dark attribute, that was Beats' idea, actually. He mainly was like, okay, so because chaos is like the power that like pretty much originated before even like the Demon King and the Supreme Deity, like it literally made light and dark, so having it be effective against those attributes is also a cool effect, and it would also help counter the Demon King, which is what we went for anyway, right? We were going for the Demon King counter regardless. So now with that out of the way, guys, that's the passive. Hope you guys liked it. A lot of inspiration came from the Demon King with the way he worked, and a lot of, you know, just kind of like finding ways to counter without being too broken, right? We wanted to be a little balanced with this kid. That was kind of the idea going into it. I wanted to be as balanced as I could, but like also having a like very, very fun character and very cool character in what he's doing, right? And I think he's doing a lot of stuff in his passive, which is really good. Okay, so first skill right here, inflicts chaos damage equal to 500% of attack on one enemy and deletes 2 skills at random. The chaos effect is going to be increases damage dealt by 10% for every orb in the hero's ultimate move gauge on the battlefield. We actually did change this, by the way, I think to, I think it was, where is it actually? Let me see if I have it here. Yeah, so what we did, guys, is for the actual change, I made it so that it was actually going to be, instead of it being 10%, we made it to stack up to 20 and be 5%, because I thought it was a little too broken being at the 10%, so we had to kind of limit it in some type of you know, way, right? Because if it was infinite 10%, bro, it would be a little too crazy. We'd be getting way too higher amounts of damage, and because it would be uncapped, it would be a little too broken. So we had to kind of balance it around that a little bit, and we didn't want to go too crazy, right? So that was kind of the idea with that. But pretty much what we did though was I decided to change it from 10% because of that. But like, you guys get the idea though, right? For every gauge on the battlefield, you do more damage. And so Arthur, whenever like the enemy is like pushing up an ultimate, or like when they're not really attacking the human team, because remember, if you deal more than 20%, right, you're gonna cleanse the team. So, you know, you don't want that to happen sometimes, right? Like, you know, especially if you're applying like a ton of debuffs, so you don't do as much damage that turn. Maybe you push up an ultimate, and that's going to increase Arthur's damage on this attack skill. And then obviously the delete part of the skill was mainly to you know, deal with Demon King again, because Demon King, for you guys that don't know, he does rank up his cards. And so if we were able to delete his cards before he ranks up, then when the time he ranks up and there's no cards in his hand, he can't really do anything, right? So that was a really good way to kind of like counter Demon King, but also give like stats just to the character. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then for the next skill here, guys, we have Oblivion. And then yeah, so it inflicts damage equal to 350% of attack on all enemies and applies 3 stacks of impurity for 2 turns. And impurity, for you guys that don't know, is going to decrease the multiplier of the target skills by 15%. So decreasing the multiplier would be, as an example, so let's say like you're facing a mirror match Arthur and he uses this skill right here at rank 3. So at rank 3, it's going to be 500% of attack and then deletes 2 skills. If we had 3 stacks of impurity on the enemy, this card would go from 500% to what? 500? No, it'd be 455, right? Because we're reducing 45% on the base multiplier of the card, right? So that's pretty much how that would work. So if you're applying 3 stacks of impurity, which would be the max regardless, we would get 45% lower on the card effect. And we didn't want to go like too crazy, because there are cards like Weak Point that are only like 90%, or like, you know, really, really low multiplier. So imagine like lowering it by like half. Like imagine we cut weak point in half. There's 45 off of 90, it's 45%. That's gonna do no damage. That's actually just gonna patience you. So we didn't want it to be too crazy, but we also wanted it to be like a way of like stacking it. So like depending on the rank, so maybe like rank 1's 1 stack, rank 2's 2, and then rank 3's 3. That could be a cool way to do it. And then that would apply for 2 turns. So yeah, we have that first part. And then the second part of the debuff would be targets receive 2 times critical damage from single target attack skills. That does not stack the times 2 critical damage part, but the overall effect of the card or of the skill can be stacked up to 3 times for the multiplier effect. So like this could go up to 45% at the maximum. And yeah, on my rough draft actually, which I'll show you guys here, let me switch to my display here. On my rough draft, we actually had it as decrease the multiplier of the target skills by 50, and we just had it be kind of like Mark of Death, where it's just 1 debuff. We didn't have it stacked before because we were kind of just like, I think me and Beats thought of this initially, where it was just like kind of like the Demon King, but then Sora gave me the idea of like, oh, what about like a stacking effect, right? Kind of like Sunspots from like Mael. So like that was a really good idea. And initially we had it as the target just receives times 2 critical damage, which would be a little too broken, obviously, because, you know, we don't want the target to receive times 2 critical damage on everything. Just single target attack skills felt a little bit more balanced, right? And it's also fair too, because most of the human team is single target based anyway, right? So I thought that was a cool way to do it. And then yeah, so that's that skill right there, guys. And then moving on to the ultimate here, an Everlasting Kingdom. By the way, all these skills, I took these screenshots from the anime, from when he's actually doing the skill. So this is when he's like cutting Kath in like multiple pieces. So this is like the AoE, and then this would be the single target where he's like using the sword with the energy. And then this would be his ultimate here, Everlasting Kingdom, where he applies 3 additional impurity for 2 turns on the enemy, and inflict impurity explosion damage equal to 750% of attack on all enemies. And if there are 2 or more enemies, expels the selected target for 2 turns. So whoever you select, because this card is an AoE ultimate, whoever you select as you use the ultimate would be the character that gets expelled. And let's say like you didn't select a character at all, it would just expel a random person, right? That's pretty much the idea would be. And then extorts 50% of basic stats on the expelled target would be 6 out of 6 effect as well. So you get the extra stats as well, because, you know, let's say there's like an ultimate Escanor backline and he does like an AoE rank 3. You don't want to just like instantly get cooked. You want to have some type of stats to tank it. So that was kind of the idea with that. And Beats mainly thought of this ultimate right here, but I think Sora with me kind of thought of the like impurity explosion, kind of like the Mael part. So like that part was me and Sora, and then Beats mainly thought of the like expel and then the extort part of the ultimate. So that was pretty cool. And then yeah, for the effect though, impurity explosion, damage dealt 30% for every impurity applied to the target. And then expel excludes from the battle, and skill targeting lowers the number of skill uses by 1. And then extort is obviously decrease the target stats and own stats by the same amount. So that is pretty much the kit though there, guys, for the King Arthur Rebirth of Chaos. Yeah, man, I mean, that's pretty much the kit. Again, I'll show you guys the rest of the rough draft though, for you guys who are wondering. Pretty much I didn't really change too much here. I did change a little bit of like the attack related stats part here. So this was actually 15 before, but we lowered it to 10 and made it 5 times. And then yeah, we did have this part from Beats though, which like the damage dealt to light and darkness. We did keep this part of the passive. I thought this was fine, like the like 10% basic stats, single target attack. We did, obviously, as I mentioned, we changed this from 10% to 5% up to 20. So we had it cap out. And then yeah, obviously we changed that skill, and we did change the ultimate before the ultimate actually was chaos as well. We actually had chaos on the ultimate too, which increased damage dealt for every orb, but we had it obviously be at like a lower percent. But with like the higher dupe, we would have had it change, and then this would be the multipliers. So like you can kind of get an idea of what the multipliers would look like for the actual like Arthur ultimate in on the actual card that we made, right? It would be like, you know, expel 2 targets. Or expels a selected target for 2 turns, right? And then yeah, and then it would be pretty insane, right? You'd have a 2-turn expel instead of 1 turn, because it's 6 out of 6. So like that was kind of an idea with that as well. And obviously this is the way it worked. Like pretty much take the chaos away, but like keep the extort and the expel parts, and that would be like what you would kind of see with the multiplier. And this is what it would be up. It would be 500 to 750. And I think a lot of the inspiration mainly came from like Demon King and the way he was built, guys, where he has like the ruler's reign and the retrocession. So that's kind of like, you know, the way I had it on Arthur was I think it was yeah, so King of Chaos and then Fragment of Chaos as well. kind of an idea, a way of like, you know, giving human allies and then himself something. So that was kind of the thought process with that. And then obviously the, you know, a lot of this surprisingly was inspired by Mael, which we did not think would be the case initially. But Mael, the way he works is actually not that bad, right? Obviously he has a lot going for himself. I think for the Brilliance of the Sun as well, I kind of took inspiration from that for like at least the damage reduction part. But I mean, Melee also has damage reduction too, and even Demon King as well. But like mainly it was like the Sunspot, kind of like the Impurity, just a little different way of giving like damage reduction with the decreased multiplier effect. And then he had Sunspot Explosion, we had Impurity Explosion, so we had, you know, kind of a way to work with that. So yeah, man, very, very cool. So yeah, guys, that's pretty much the character kit for the Arthur. I will be posting this on Twitter, so I'll have this on my Twitter if you guys are curious to actually read the kit that you're yourself on your own time, whatever the case. So I'll have this with my video. I'll post it on Twitter as well, so you guys can see the little like character sheet that I made. And then yeah, that's pretty much it though, man. Let me know if you guys want to see more character concepts in the future. This did take me I think we made it last week. But I had this video planned for a while. I just didn't know when to record it, so I thought I'd just drop it before the Elaine and all that stuff. So yeah, man, let me know what you guys think in the comment section below though. That's gonna be it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe as always. If you guys want to see more videos like this, definitely let me know in the comment section below, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next video. Peace out and have a great rest of your day, guys. See you later, man.